What is going on YouTube? It's your boy Spanko, and today I'm back with another deck profile. Now I realized that I did a PK deck profile and I did a BA deck profile, but I never did a PK Fire deck profile. Now if you guys don't know what PK Fire is, it's pretty much a nickname that was given to BAs as well as PKs when they were put together. They synergize really well. So PK Fire is one of the decks that I haven't done for some reason. I'm like, what the heck? So here I am doing it. Now this deck doesn't need a lot of explanation because it is a meta deck. You guys have probably seen it a lot of times before. I like to take my time with a lot of the non-meta decks and the rogue decks that I do because I want to explain the choices. And because this is seen like all over the community, I don't have to go super in depth with this, but I'll let you know my card choices. Most of this is pretty standard if I'm being honest with you, and that's why I don't like doing meta profiles too much, because a lot of these profiles are really standard, really cookie cutter. Now this is different than a lot of some of the other ones just because I am playing some extra extenders. I felt like extenders are really good in this deck. The most standard boards in this deck are pretty much like Bardiche plus a Verte plus like a Dragoon, wherever Dragoon is over here. So you play, that's pretty much the most basic play with like double Fogblade stat, and you can do that pretty much just with like a tour guide in hand. Like literally just a tour guide normal summon is that full combo, and maybe just any other BA in hand, but just tour guide on its own is pretty much that combo. But I was thinking like, hey, I kind of want to go into Union Carrier. I kind of want to make this play live right over here, the Dragon Buster, because I think that's like completely broken. So that's why I am playing a few more extenders. I'll get into it when I get to the profile, but if you guys haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh content, whether it's meta stuff like this or the rogue stuff that I usually do. I know I like doing rogue stuff, but trust me, you guys, like rogue stuff is fun because everyone knows these cookie cutter meta decks. Like they're just meta, and everyone knows them. Everyone plays them in the top competitive tier. And if you guys are here for meta stuff, don't worry, you guys are gonna get to see it. But there is other options, and I really like doing rogue profiles just because you can be really creative with rogue. It's hard to get really creative with some of the meta profiles. And so our goal is 5,000 by the end of 2020. Let's see if we can get there. And so tour guide, I am playing triple tour guide. It just came off the ban list. It's at 3 now, so definitely triple tour guide. Only one Fiendish Rhino Warrior. It's not that important in this deck because you're not maxing out on the BAs. As you guys can see, you're only really playing 2 of each of the good BAs. So 2 Seer, 2 Farfa, 2 Graf, 2 Skarm, and only 1 Libic. I didn't want to play too many BAs. They're just really kind of extenders for you, something you can mill off Dante. But as you guys can see, I'm only playing 1 Dante. You're not really relying on the mill aspect of the deck too much. It's just another option for you. But pretty much you're just using these to link climb and then get to your PK Bardiche as fast as possible. So that's pretty much it for the BA engine. I would count these as like BA monsters, even though they're not actual BA monsters. I'd pretty much count these as part of the BA engine. Obviously, Tour Guide is your best normal summon, and just opening this is, again, like I said earlier, full combo. This on its own is pretty much Verte, Bardiche, Double Fogblade, Dragoon. So that's why Tour Guide is so good. Unfortunately, Call by the Grave went to 1. So if this gets hit, you're kind of in not the best position. I'm not even playing Call by the Grave, to be honest with you, because it is kind of sacky. I guess you can play it at 1 if you want to make this a 41 card deck, but yeah, Tour Guide is pretty much your best normal summon. Then for the PKs, I'm just playing a 3-2-1. It should be 3 Silent Boots, 2 Ancient Cloak, as well as 1 Ragged Gloves. They're not that important. Like, this is the best one because it's a special summon. It also searches Fogblade for you, but you just want to play all the names because you're most likely going to be sending the Ancient Cloaks off of Bardiche. Ragged Gloves is pretty good sometimes because it can get an extra trap in your graveyard so that you can banish it to special summon something back. Sometimes you can be special summoning your Bardiche back from the graveyard as well, actually. So Ragged Gloves is pretty good, just another name for you, but the most important one is the Silent Boots. So like I said, I am playing a lot of extenders, and the reason for that is because I really like to push this deck a little bit further than what the normal combos are. And so for doing that, I am playing double Kagemucha Knight. It makes it so that these monsters aren't bad normal summons anymore, because sometimes like you don't really want to summon your Ancient Cloak, but if you don't open your Tour Guide, normal summoning Ancient Cloak with this is still pretty good as well. It gets you to the combo. Then I am playing 1 Tsuchinoko, 1 Jackalope, as well as 1 Nessie. This is just a little danger package. Getting your BA monsters from hand to the graveyard is never bad, but also just their extenders as well, so that's why I'm playing them. Psychic Wielder as well as Psychic Tracker, again, just more extenders, as well as the Edge of Sabers. Edge of Sabers is actually very good. If you send this to the graveyard either off of Dante or off of like a Foolish Burial or something, it's actually really strong just because if you end up opening a Dark Magician, a Red Eyes, or you open the Red Eyes Fusion in hand, putting it back into your deck with Edge of Sabers plus getting another like monster on the field is very strong. Also, what people don't really realize is that this is a Dark Fiend. So it being a Dark Fiend means that you can actually send it to the graveyard with Cherubini. Because Cherubini doesn't actually have to necessarily send a BA monster. It just sends a level 3 monster from the deck to the graveyard, so you can send the Edge Sabers. Obviously, you can send all of these with the Cherubini as well, but you're pretty much just going to be sending the Edge Sabers to get either Red Eyes Fusion out of your hand or just to get another extender on the field. Then I am playing the Dark Magician and the Red Eyes. The reason I didn't play this in the pure BA profile is because you really relied on the milling aspect. With this deck, you don't really rely on milling too much, so that's why I didn't mind playing these in the main deck. And honestly, Dragoons is such a good monster on its own, there's no reason to not play it. And I am playing one Dragon Buster just for the Union Carrier play, and that's why I kind of played more extenders, because I just wanted to get to Union Carrier as fast as possible so that I can make this, because then some of the boards you can end on are like Bardiche plus Verte plus Union Carrier plus the Dragoons, and then Bardiche will be equipped with a Dragon Buster, and that is just super unbreakable, to be honest, because now your opponent's pretty much locked out of their extra deck. You have Dragoons Negation and you have double Fogblade set, so you're in such a good position at that point. It's going to be really hard for your opponent to out that. Then you're playing one Red Eyes Fusion, obviously for the Dragoon play, one Rhoda because all your PK monsters are warriors. Also, it's kind of cool because if you open a PK monster and you can't get to like a tour guide or something, you can actually just Rhoda out your Kagemutra Knight, which is just another extender. I am playing one Foolish. Now, this is the one spot that I was kind of on and off about. Sometimes Foolish is really good for you, and a lot of times Foolish is like not that great for you. Foolish is really good to send Edge Sabers. I love sending this card to the graveyard, by the way. Getting this card in the graveyard as fast as possible is always really good, so that's why I like the Foolish. But sometimes I wish this was just a call by the grave, because I know it's just at 1, but you might as well play it at 1 just in case you see it. It still could be pretty good. So if you guys wanted to play Call by the Grave instead of Foolish, you guys can do that as well, or you can just play a 41 card deck. To be honest, I don't think playing 41 is bad, so if you guys wanted to do that, you guys can do that as well. One Monster Reborn, just an extender for you. Triple Imperm, because it is the best hand trap of the format. It's actually literally a hand trap, so triple Imperm for sure. One of the Brigandine. Now this is just an extender for you. If you open it, it's really good. You can search into it if you already open one of your Fog Blades, because sometimes you draw into your Fog Blades, and that's not bad because you can obviously just set your Fog Blades, but it gives you another card, and it actually is an extender, because if you do draw into one of the Fog Blades, you can set this off of your Bardiche and then summon it just to link climb, right? Because then you can make the Union Carrier with this card, and that's why I just like the Brigandine is just an extra extender, and then double Fog Blade. Now you can play triple Fog Blade instead of this if you wanted to. That's just another play, because there's times where you can end on triple Fog Blade, but sometimes I feel like that's overkill. I would prefer the extender myself. So then on to the extra deck, we are playing one Dragoon of Red Eyes, of course, playing one Break Sword, one Leviair. This card is really good in the late game, just bringing stuff back from your Banish Zone is pretty good. One Dante, you don't make it too much, to be honest with you, but one Dante can be pretty good if you open a lot of the cards, like let's say that you don't want to mill. So let's say you open a bunch of like PK monsters, you don't mind milling some of your BA monsters, so that's why Dante could be really good for that. Then you got one Boral Sword, one Axis Code, one Apollo, one Unicorn. Like these are all really just standard link monsters that you're going to be playing. You got one Rusty Bardiche, you got Phoenix, you got Cerberus, you got Union Carrier. Like I don't know, like all these cards are really just the meta relevant link monsters. You got IP. Sometimes if you feel like Dragoon is not a good play, or if you don't have access to Dragoon, making IP can be really strong as well, because IP into Unicorn, as we all know, is really good. IP into Apollo is also really good, so IP is just another option for you. You got Cherubini, and then you got the Verte Anaconda. Cherubini is one of your best cards going first, to be honest, because making this with the tour guide and something else, just being able to make this, you're kind of have full combo already, right? And it just kind of synergizes so well, just because they're all the dark, like all the monsters I mean are dark like fiends, and then darks make Bardiche really easily, and then they also make the Union Carrier really easy because most of them are darks. The extenders may not be dark, and you guys might be wondering like, yo, if the extenders are not dark, how are you making Union Carrier? What I mean by extenders is you usually just use these extenders to make your initial Cherubini, because Cherubini just needs 2 level 3s. So you use these 2 extenders, the non-dark ones, pretty much just to make the Cherubini as fast as possible. And then once that happens, you obviously have a bunch of other dark monsters that you can be using for your Bardiche, for your Union Carrier, for your Verte, whatever the situation is, right? So that's why I just wanted to play these as well. Also, I should mention that worst comes to worst, like if you end up milling a Dark Magician or your Red Eyes and you're kind of like stuck, you can Monster Reborn them back. Like it sounds funny, but you can actually bring them back, and it can be pretty relevant. So that's why like Dark Magician and Red Eyes, even though they are kind of bricks, as well as the Red Eyes Fusion, I should say, like this is the kind of quote-unquote bricks in your deck, but it's not the worst thing in the world. You guys can play around it, and to be honest, it just makes the ceiling of the deck so high that there's no reason to not play it, right? Like even though it is quote-unquote a brick, it's a brick that's worth playing, because if you don't open it, you're in such a good position. And honestly, you can make a lot of the combos if you do open it, because like I said, if you don't get into Red Eyes Fusion, let's say you open it, right, and you can't make Verte, it's fine, because you can make something like an IP instead, right? And an IP is still just as good. You can also make the Union Carrier, which again, if you make the Union Carrier and then put the Dragon Buster on the Bardiche, then you're in such a good position there. So that's why I just wanted to make a lot of options available for me, just to minimize the chances of me bricking. But even if I do quote unquote brick with these monsters, you still have plays to make. So that's it for the deck profile. I know it's kind of a shorter profile, and it's not too much to explain, to be honest with you. It is a more meta deck. If you guys are trying to play in the competitive scene, I would actually very much recommend playing this deck. I think this deck is one, fun, two, it's obviously very competitive and very meta, and you guys can see a lot of success with this. So it's one of my old favorites. I'm very happy that Seer came back, Garth came back, we got Tour Guide back at 3. Like, this deck got super buffed in the most recent ban list. So if you guys enjoyed this deck profile, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you guys haven't already, make sure to check out the new channel membership, where you guys get a bunch of exclusive perks. You also get channel member badges, where if you guys comment on the videos, if you guys join the live streams, you have a badge pretty much right next to your name to show off how many months you've been a member. If you're a new member, if you've been a member for 2-3 months, whatever the situation is, make sure to check that out. It'll help support me and help support the channel. Let's get to 5,000 before the end of 2020. And with that, guys, Spanko signing out. Peace.
My hands steady, I feel ready, but my legs heavy, I don't get it. How come I haven't hit it already? Still working, I'm still learning, I'm still searching, finally earning something, finally turning something called a profit. If I hear you talking shit, don't get caught in it. I'll be popping off and hit your ass, dropping all your shit. Yeah, I promise this, I got promises, you ain't stopping this.